Welcome to the messy middle of entrepreneurship, unfiltered and unapologetic. Uncensored Entrepreneurs, hosted by Starr, Robert Wall, and Tina Torres-Wilson, brings you real stories from the trenches of building a business. Those late nights, hard lessons, big wins, and everything in between. This is where the truth about entrepreneurship lives. No fluff, no filters, just raw, honest conversations with founders who have lived it. So, if you're over the highlight reel and you're ready for the real deal, hit play. What if your message wasn't just clear, but aligned, profitable, and sustainable? Shannon Hernandez is the strategist high-growth founders call when their message no longer matches their mission. She's the creator of the profit-driven messaging ecosystem and a fierce advocate for message sovereignty in the age of automation. Her work helps leaders protect the clarity, depth, and authority of their voice so it stays distinctly human in an AI-driven world. She's also the co-founder of Joyful Business Revolution and the author of Practical Joy. And before any of that, Shannon was a public school teacher who walked away from a steady career to build a business on her own terms. That journey came with risks, pivots, and seasons of rebuilding. Today, Shannon helps mission-driven founders scale with purpose and clarity. So if you're ready to reconnect with what you actually want to say and how you want to grow, then this conversation is absolutely for you. Shannon, welcome to the Uncensored Entrepreneurs.
Shannon, we so excited to have you here. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Shannon. Obviously, that's a formal introduction, but I can't wait for our audience to hear a lot more about you and even for ourselves, right? I know a little bit about you and your journey, but I'd love to hear a lot more of how you came about into what you're doing today in today's world. And I know you had a signature question that you wanted to ask us, correct?
Correct. So my signature question, and also for every single person listening, I want you to pause and answer it. What is bringing each of you joy today?
Awesome. Ladies, do you want to go first? If not, I know what's bringing me joy today. So Shannon, I have been gone since Sunday away from my wife and children. I was out in Southern California. Amazing opportunity, did a lot of different things, a lot of filming, had an opportunity to speak at an event as well. But what brought me great joy during that period of time, and it's really leading into today, is I was able to meet a couple clients actually that I've never met face to face. And then even my co-host, my beautiful co-host, Starr here, we have been on a journey for 3 whole years, Shannon. We've been doing this show in some context, and we've never met face to face. And so Starr and I had an opportunity to meet briefly, but we still met. And there's just so much shows like this. It's wonderful that we have this tool to be able to do podcasts and webinars across the world. But there's something about meeting people face to face.
Is she much shorter in person?
I've already expected it. I'm probably taller than she expected as well, or maybe about the same. But anyway, so that was great joy in just being home. Last night, I traveled in so many storms and we were grounded for 2.5 hours in Atlanta. I almost called Tina up and said, hey, you got a couch available for me? But anyway, so I've got a lot of joy today. So thank you.
Beautiful. Let's see, what's bringing me joy? Well, right now, I'm glad that we are getting a little bit cooler weather because I am a fall girl. Season of fall is my thing. So my amazing, wonderful new hubby brought all my fall decorations out. So that is bringing me joy today.
Yes. So what's the reframe when you have a difficult morning? It's AM here for me, and I definitely had a rocky start today. What's the reframe, Shannon?
Is it being with us today or with Shannon?
Well, one of the reasons I asked this question is because outside of the work I do with founders on their messaging and their marketing, I wrote a book a couple years ago called Practical Joy, but it is my answer to many, many people misdiagnosing joy for happiness. And so I don't want to go down that whole path today, but Starr, the reframe would be joy is an inside job. So what is a little micro joy in this moment that you can share with us?
That I'm able to be here today and be present.
Beautiful.
I had a great week in business. I just had some hiccups with my kids this morning in their school. And so I felt very overwhelmed coming on the show. And as entrepreneurs, we always think about the business side, but I'm a mom, I'm a wife.
A lot of people are feeling the same way right now because school started. The kids can't wake up on time. They're still trying to stay up till 10 or 11. You have this pack of school papers to fill out for each one of your children. Just having them getting back on schedule is a whole thing.
Definitely.
Well, what I want to say about that is I used to be that teacher.
That was my next question.
So we could just go in there. But the reason I left the school system after 15 years, so I taught 10 years in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then the last 5 years I taught in Spanish Harlem, New York City, 8th graders, the crazy 8th graders that nobody wants to teach. I freaking loved those kids.
I envy you because those 8th graders, they're not as sassy yet, but they still got the little attitude, but they're still acting like little kids too at the same time. And the hormones are just raging. So kudos to you for teaching 8th grade kids.
Absolutely. But one of the reasons I left is pretty much you all said it without saying it is it's a very inefficient system. You have 3 kids in the same school or whatever, and you got to fill out the same form for all 3 kids 3 times, and then it just doesn't end, right? The insanity and the inefficiency of the system just does not end. And I couldn't deal with that shit anymore. It was not joyful.
You used to teach in Charlotte, then you went to Spanish Harlem. Where are you at now?
So I live in New Jersey, right across from New York City on the Hudson River. So I get to look at the city every day.
Beautiful. So Shannon, being that you left education, what made you get into entrepreneurship? How did you know what your next steps would be?
I didn't know shit.
Tell us what happened. Tell us all about the accident. How did it happen?
Oh gosh. So year 15 of teaching, I was, okay, I cannot do this for 10 more years. I only had to make it 10 more years till retirement, but I was like, this is not what I want to do for 10 years. It's not bringing me joy. I didn't have a network outside of teaching. I didn't know business. Everyone in my family had government jobs. My father was a state trooper. My mother was a nurse. All my siblings were teachers. It was crazy. So it was scary. It was really scary because I truly was going to be the first one to say, you know what? I'm going to just leave all this. I know it's got a retirement. I know it's got a pension. I know it's got health insurance, but I'm actually going to follow my joy and see where that leads.
You got a lot of criticism for that one.
Yes, a lot. So I left, and the only thing I knew to do at the time, the only social network I was on 13 years ago was Facebook. And I literally posted, I'm going to start a business and I think I need a business coach. That was the only clarity that I had. And someone connected me with a beautiful foundational business coach who helped me in those early years really understand what are my strengths, what are my gifts, how do I best show up and serve people. And I actually came out early on in business as a content writer and conversion copywriter. And words have always been my magic and my way that I can serve people. And so that went on for a while and things evolved. And now I get to walk into established brands and really say, okay, you've grown, but it's like I call sloppy pancake. This was your message. And then you tried something and then we added another pancake and another pancake. And all of a sudden we just have this stack of messy messaging that needs a solution. And so that's where I'm at now. And that's the fast journey of what happened.
So you put the syrup on the messy stack of things.
I clean up that mess.
What I love, though, in what you've already shared, is you were in a career that just didn't seem fully aligned and you were doing everything that the job entailed. Your love for writing, your love for words and helping others. It sounds like those earlier stages really helped you as you transitioned into the world of business as well.
Absolutely. And one of the big mistakes that I made early on was, for whatever reason, I don't have to analyze it anymore. I have a therapist. I had a lot of shame about being a teacher. I felt like it was a less than. And so one of the parts like I really cut off was this teaching. But I'm a teacher at heart, and the way that I can show up when I keynote, when I facilitate in companies, and if you come to one of my famous dinners in New York City, I'm going to teach you something, right? Because I am a teacher at heart. And so it took me a while to overcome that teaching wasn't a less than or whatever that story was going on. And once I fully stepped into it's words and teaching that is my magic, that's when my business really started transforming. And it's been very, very fulfilling. And it's really good not to carry the weight of that shame anymore, whatever that was.
I love that. It sounds a great deal. I talk about alignment all the time. It's the stories that we tell ourselves, right? I love the fact that what you're saying, it transitions into some of your writing already, that rhythm. I think you call it just the natural rhythm of your work. And so that's beautiful. Actually, Starr and I had an opportunity at this event just a couple days ago where everyone talked a great deal about just joy. When you're in that place, it has very little to do with money, but when you're in full alignment or in that natural rhythm, all these other things start to happen, right? And then, of course, money just seems to be a byproduct of your joy and your happiness and everything that you do. So,
And Shannon, tell us a little bit about the early days when you transitioned into becoming an entrepreneur. We have a lot of our audience members are still working full time. Maybe they're thinking about how can they escape the rat race and take this on full time. What did that look like for you logistically and financially, even emotionally?
Well, I always say no matter if you're going to open an online business or a brick and mortar business, if you want to do it not taking 100 years to do it, you need to be willing to think of your online business as if you are a hairdresser or a McDonald's, where you're going to need to open with some branding, some words. We don't have all the expenses of fry machines and hairdressing stations and all of that, but I treated my business from day one as if I was not going to do this solo. And I know that has contributed to the success that I had relatively early, is because I built a team. And in order to build that team, I didn't have clients yet.
I hope you're enjoying this conversation. Before we continue, one thing I hear all the time, especially in the early stages of building a business, is how exhausting it is trying to manage everything on your own. I remember feeling like I had a dozen tabs open in my brain at all times. That's exactly what inspired me to create She Has Clients, an all-in-one sales and marketing platform for entrepreneurs who want to grow their business without patching together a million tools. If that sounds like what you need, you can learn more at shehasclients.com. Now let's get back to the conversation.
And so this is one of the things that just drives me nuts is people say, oh, I'll build the team when I have the clients, or I'll build the team when I have the money. But if you really want to be successful in business, even if it's a very lean team, you will figure out how to do that earlier rather than later. So that was like a big lesson and a big thing when I look back on that worked really well for me. But it also meant because I left teaching full time and I don't have a grant, or I've never done funding for this business, I don't have my parents' money to fall back on, I needed to have money coming in to at least pay these expenses and contribute to my household. So I took a job as a part-time professor at Brooklyn College, and I taught 2 classes a semester, and that was the money that I used to pay my team so that I could get stuff done and be ready to call in clients and service them.
Very smart, Shannon. I started with brick and mortar. Most of our audience knows that. And it's not possible without a team. I wasn't going to do it without a team. And to this day, I thrive best when I have team and support. And I think a lot of people are operating as that solopreneur, and it's nothing wrong with that. But I say, get your first VA, even if it's for an hour per day. If you're starting a business, you can afford that small investment just to help you so that you can start catapulting the business, bringing in clients, like you said, whatever you need support, because you can't do it all alone. You're only going to grow so far.
Delegation is the one thing that everybody struggles with, is to let that control go, and the money situation too. But I have a question. So for our listeners who feel like their business is running them, what's one shift that they can make today to start taking their time and their energy?
Well, it's going to depend what part of their business is running them. That's interesting. let's say if they feel like their business is running them because they're putting out all this messaging and content and emails and marketing and it's not converting, that's a very different problem we help people solve than I've got the maximum capacity of clients I can actually take. And if I'm going to grow this business, I need to maybe bring on a salesperson or bring on an assistant that's going to help do client fulfillment, right? So I love being able to have these discussions with people who get it, because there is no one size fits all solution, and you need to know what your real problem is that you're trying to solve.
Each one of us on here are coaches in our own right. And so we find that most people, when they come to us with a problem, by the time we peel back the layers, the problem isn't even what they thought they needed help with, right? And so that allows us just delving in to understand what it is that they need. Many times we are our own worst enemy, right? So we are the ones in the way of the success that we're trying to achieve. I love that, by the way. If I could have hit some sound effect, alarm or a horn or something, I would have done it when you said to build the team early on. And most people think, I can't do that because I don't have the income, I can't scale. But however, I find that even in some of these online communities or looking for a mentor, there's all different ways that they can start to build their tribe and their team. There may be other people in the same boat they are, but they can share each other's skill set.
First started, I bartered everything. Hey, do you need to write a book? I need somebody to help me with my website. Hey, I need somebody to help me with this. I bartered my way for 2 years until I could get the money coming in.
Yeah, it's more about that creativity, right? Because let's face it, as a solopreneur, and we've all been there at some stage, even if we had a team, we've been on an island by ourselves in some fashion. Burnout and fatigue is real.
Doing everything. The finances, the marketing, the branding, the social media, you're not in your zone of genius. And then you're flopping in the wind because you can't do anything what you're supposed to do. You're trying to do all these different things.
By the way, I call that a floppy titty.
Oh,
Robert, yours would be something different.
I'm at that age where I'm starting to have the same problem. So tell us a little bit about the book. I have not had the opportunity, I'll admit, to read it yet. Usually I try to read our guests' books before they get on, but it doesn't always happen with our schedule, and I will now. So tell us a little bit about that transition, the book, what people can look forward to when they order it, and then what was the transformational process for you in writing that book?
Yeah. So the book Practical Joy came about because I was not in joy. There were a few things that happened in a very short time in March 2019 and then March of 2020, minus COVID hitting New York City. So that was just the third thing. It was like the trifecta of things. The first thing was my spouse of 9 years came out as transgender in 2019, and our whole world was upside down. Who is she now? What is her identity? What is my identity? What's our marriage identity? And oh, holy shit, now I've been thrown into a LGBTQ community I know nothing about. It was huge. So that was one.
That sounds like a whole book in itself.
That doesn't sound like a little thing.
Might even be a Lifetime movie.
Listen, they wanted it a movie, but I am not going on TV. That is not my joy.
That is not to bring me joy. No.
The other thing that happens in March of 2020, I went in for a routine hysterectomy in New York City, and it was way more complicated than what they thought. I came in on a Friday, and literally I went in, they put me under, I was under 5 hours. I came out, and they're like, this was way more complicated. And by the way, something has happened. We don't know what it is yet, but something called COVID has hit the city, and we need to get you out of this hospital.
Oh, what a time.
And so it was not even hurry up and get well. My doctor said, I'm giving you my personal cell phone. We are going to do consultations from home, but there were so many complications. And I spent the next month in and out of ERs, overfloated with COVID.
And then your spouse can't be there.
It was crazy. So anyway, when I almost died, I was laying in this ER room that it was a hallway because there was no space. I heard a message, and the message was, do more of what matters and take it to the people. And that was the message that kept me alive, really, in that moment. And I remember thinking, what the hell does that mean? I was pissed at first. I've got all this shit going on and you're telling me to do more and do what matters and take it to the people. But I thought about it for 3 years. And so what matters to me is helping people find that everyday joy, no matter if they're in grief, no matter if they're in transition. It is an inside job. Joy is an inside job. And that's why I wrote the book, Practical Joy.
I love that so much, by the way. And we won't have time to unpack all of that on this show. But once I read the book in its entirety, we're going to have you back on again, because I would love to just focus on that joy element. It's so powerful. We were just talking again, I'm just saying, at the event when Starr and I talked a great deal about serving, right? When you're trying to figure out self, when you are out of alignment in any type of broken state, which you were, serve. I could almost answer nearly every question in regards to that. If you serve others, you'll find out so much more about yourself, your superpower, your purpose, the things that bring you joy. And then you can amplify that, right? To even expand and serve more. I love that so much.
And one thing I want to say, and this goes with what you said, something, Robert, at the beginning of the show, but for business owners, let's just speak to the business owners for a minute, or those wanting to grow the business. As crazy as it sounds, what I have found, and this is where the joy and the marketing and the messaging and the whole brand fits together. When you follow your joy, the money will come. It will never do it in reverse.
Oh, wow. We've all chased money. And I tell you what, that's an endless cycle there.
The desperation.
Yes. I love that. You wrote the book, you're bringing joy, you're serving others. I should just say, let's leap way forward. And what is Shannon doing today? What are some of the big events, the kind of big purpose around that, and anything coming up as well?
One of the things I had to do is rebrand the company, because I brought on sales team, and it was really weird because the company was Shannon Hernandez prior, and then they weren't seeing Shannon until way later, and they were very confused. So that was a big hiccup that I had to learn how to lead through. I had to learn how to message. I had to learn a lot in that process. So now that I have this sales team in place and doing a wonderful job of selling through service and selling through deep listening and really understanding where people are and what their goals are, it's allowed me now to open up and do some other things. So one of the things that I've been working on is an event that I'm going to host in Phoenix in February. And this is an event to help people understand strategic visibility. And I'm going to help people build their strategic visibility and authority roadmap. And what does that look like when you are a business owner, or you are a thought leader, or you are in this transition from founder-led business to brand-led business where that messaging gets messy? What's the playbook to move through it? Because as far as I know, nobody's written one that is actually worthy of me talking about. I'm going to write it, y'all.
Awesome. I love that.
So that's one of the things I'm working on. The other thing that I've really been focusing hard on is I grew $1 million business off of Facebook. I'm not going to lie. I have never used an ad. I had a Facebook group, but man, I burnt the hell out, and I had to figure out how I was going to do it differently in the next iteration. I've completely pivoted to LinkedIn. So if anyone wants to come connect with me, come there. But I'm really working on my thought leadership and my presence on LinkedIn. And I'm having so much fun with it because it is about connecting and relationships, and it is about intelligent conversations. And it's been a learning curve, but it's been well worth it for the way I want to run business. And I will say over and over again, email marketing is my love language. And the reason email marketing is my love language is because it allows me to come off of social and get out of that rat race and do the things that I love. I'm going to try and summit Kilimanjaro in February. I am in full training mode. I've got less than 6 months, and I am just like, holy shit. I just want to hope I can get to the top and then come back down safely and be like, I did it. I really did this lifelong goal that I've had.
You definitely need to come back on this show. The struggles there, what you were feeling.
The things that I love to do outside of my business, I had to find a way to
Integrate that into your business. That's a bit of a struggle for many.
The integration is one, but I had to find a marketing quote unquote engine that would allow me to take 20 days off at a time to do these things I wanted to do without my entire pipeline drying up or my business going away. And email marketing is what has done that for me.
That's powerful, especially when so often we're talking about algorithms that continue to change and develop. And we're really at the mercy of just one switch each and every day.
Facebook and Instagram.
It's not even an announcement, right? It's just instantaneous change that shifts your entire business model. And so I really like that you're still bringing it back to that roots. I have to ask this. You said you built Facebook initially around the group, no paid ads. Are you doing paid ads now, or is it still all organic?
I have never done a paid ad in my life.
Amazing. That's inspiring.
Marketing is the only marketing tool that is yours. Facebook is not yours. Instagram is not yours. TikTok is not yours. All those followers that everybody loves, it can be gone in an instant.
And I think this is the real flex, quote unquote, is I don't give a shit what one algorithm does. It does not impact me.
I love that so much because I've struggled. We've dabbled in all different kinds of things and we've shifted. And I'm finding the same exact thing, that the bigger social media gets, the harder it is to even infiltrate that unless you're paying big money, right?
I want anyone listening to really get from this whole conversation on social media and email. When I came into business 13 years ago, I built the business by going to one networking event every single week in person. There wasn't really Zoom. There wasn't all this social media. And so what COVID did for this business is, because everyone was home, my social selling game was ready and on point, and we climbed fast. But as soon as people started going back, and we've all seen this, it's not working like it used to, right? If you want to build a sustainable business, you will master the art of learning how to talk to people and care for people and listen to people.
I love it. And that's your whole topic around message sovereignty, right? That voice first marketing. Very powerful. And I think it's not just something that you're saying to someone just getting started. We've all been in the business for a very long time. And I'm sitting there going, yes, I get it. I've even been reluctant to migrate back into just my newsletters and my email marketing, when really my heart and my gut have told me that I should have been doing this months ago.
Yeah. It's never too late to start.
I know, I'm going to start. Yeah, you've inspired me today to do that.
Hashtag no algorithms.
My first blog will be called Floppy. No, just kidding.
Yes. But Shannon, I think the takeaway though is that you actually did put in the work. You went to these events every single week. People can be a little bit lazy in the online space and think that just because they're posting their offers that people are going to buy, but they've established no true connection. So trying to figure out how you can do that in the online space if you're not going to events. And a lot of people are starting to go to networking events now too. I mean, I went to one with Robert this week and we met some amazing people. Robert knew some people there already. I met some really great people there as well. And so these are people that when you meet them face to face, they trust you more. You can establish that relationship and either sell to them or they can introduce you to their audience. So if you're online, think about how you can do that online if you're not able to go to these events. I'm so glad that you shared that, Shannon.
So is this your messaging ecosystem, meaning that your brand, when someone wants to start doing some work with you, when they come into your system that you've created, does it start first with that messaging, peeling back the layers of that?
Yeah. So the system is called profit-driven messaging ecosystem. And I've identified over all the years in my own brand, but also helping thousands of people, there's really 6 kinds of messaging that make a well-rounded messaging architecture, if you will. And so what we help people do is first audit which of the 6 types of messaging are you already doing? And then a layer deeper, is it working? Because doing and working are 2 different things. And then where are the gaps in your messaging? So where are you not sharing, for example, case studies or testimonials, but from the viewpoint of really serving the people, not these stupid things people put out that are like, celebrate my client who just had a $100,000 launch. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really, really helping people see you have a process, you have a methodology, you have a viewpoint, you have a system that helps people get results. And as a result of that, this is an example of an average client who did this. That's part of the profit-driven messaging ecosystem. The other thing that I think is really important here is I was one of the very first in the scene, marketing scene, if you will, and messaging scene. And honestly, it was a really hard time for me because I was laughed at by my peers. Okay. But I was one of the very first people years ago who took a stand and said, I am going to teach people how to do messaging that is kind and shows people possibilities and does not beat people up with pain point marketing. People said to me, you will not last. This will not be successful. People will only buy with their pain. And the thing that I kept thinking to myself is when I want to go on a vacation to Hawaii, I am not sitting around thinking about my pain. I am thinking about my desire. I am thinking about my possibility. What is there for me that I don't know that's there yet? And so if I could wave my magic messaging wand, it would be to tell people already have enough problems. You do not need to add to their problems with pain point messaging and marketing. Period.
It's not necessary. That is so good. I say the same thing about some people that like to create that polarizing content, but it's sometimes so polarizing that it's rude to 50% of their audience. I'm like, that's not necessary. Yet they're taught to do that.
Yeah, it really is. And we're seeing that so often today. I'm going to shift just a moment. Still on the same topic, though. Let's talk AI for a moment, right? For the sake of time, it's big. And for all of us, I'm a personal brand strategist. So in the very, very beginning, years ago, I didn't want to adopt any of that. But then I realized the power behind AI and still remaining authentic with your own core messaging and your purpose. Tell us a little bit about that and how have you seen that transition in today's world? Because I tell you what, and this is why I love the whole idea behind emails and really just the thought leadership side of things. When I open up my messenger, it is filled with just AI approach, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. It's so much that I don't even open them anymore. If something even starts with, I have an amazing offer for you, it could be the most amazing offer. And I probably won't read it. I hate to say that.
Well, this could be a whole show.
Yes, it could.
So the very first thing, just bringing us back to serving and relationship and how people actually want to buy from people that understand their problem. One of the reasons that approach doesn't work that you're talking about, Robert, is because nobody's had a conversation with you. They're assuming you have a problem or you have a need, and that's where the messaging gets all wonky. So I was the latest of late adopters to AI. I'm not going to lie. I didn't even open Chat GPT until December of 2024.
Late bloomer, but
Because I was watching from a messaging and a marketing standpoint the landscape. I am never one of these people that jumps on the hype bandwagon. It is just not how I'm built. AI can do a lot of great things, and we can talk about that in a minute, but what it can't do is the very thing that I said you better be good at doing, which is building relationships with people. So it's not solving most people's most urgent problem. However, when I opened it in December, which was the day after Christmas, and I just got my wits about me, fast forward to now, 8 months in, the way that I'm using AI is not for messaging. It is for brainstorming. And I am now building tools that help my clients identify within their ideal client profile who their most strategic collaborators, referral partners, and dream clients would be on LinkedIn, and integrating that tool so that they are able to search LinkedIn very efficiently to find these people and then start a conversation with a very warm outreach that gives them a compliment on something they saw or something they believe in that this person is doing. And that is how I'm currently using AI and supporting my business and my clients to shrink down that searching time and also give them a little bit of a warm structure so that we're not having DMs like, hi, do you need a VA? Let's talk about it, or whatever they are.
Right. I think there's a lot of power there. And we talk a great deal about that. And just the fact that staying authentic to your messaging, understanding your core and how you serve your tribe, but it allows you speed, allows you to scale things quicker. And also, I found that it's a great way to transition your message amongst maybe different groups. Maybe today I'm speaking to a room of realtors, and tomorrow I'm speaking to a group of home-based marketers, right? And so it's just a little bit of a tweak. And I love the fact that I can do that in your messaging, but still remaining authentic. And there's so many people in this generation. I won't mention one of the number one selling books that just went viral all across social media, but there is this thing where it's just like the hype, right? Everyone buys into the hype and it's like the magic answer. I think there was over 20 million copies were purchased just on the front end. And so when you think of a number like that, how many out of the 20 million will actually build a sustainable brand and business to serve others?
Well, how many actually read the book?
There's so much I could say and break down from every angle you could imagine. And if I had the energy, I would have done it already. But what I will say about this, okay, I don't care for the person, just in general, like the capitalistic male type thing is not my vibe. So I'm just going to say that. But what I will say, to also give credit where credit is due, he was able to do what he did, not once, because he did this last year at this time, because he understands messaging and how to get people involved and feel included and heard and listened to, whether we agree with it or not. And also because he understands the power of email marketing and getting people on board through the power of messaging and using email and YouTube and whatever together, because you can't do what he did if you're not good at building community.
No, absolutely. And what a robust CRM process, right?
I was the gratitude specialist. I started how to follow up and customer care and treating your customers good, and then transitioned into the Pink Door Publishing Agency and all that. And the relationship marketing is what got me to where I am today. Just that warm, what can I do for you? Who do I need to know that you need to know? Or who do I know that you need to know? Who can I connect you with? And people just don't do it like that anymore.
So Shannon, for the sake of time, and we could talk forever, like I said, we're going to have you back on for a lot of different reasons. I think we brought up a few topics in general that we could just sit here and dive into. What's the best way that people can get started with working for you? And of course, we're going to have all your stuff attached to our podcast, but is it going directly to the website, or where's a good place for people to land?
Yeah, so you can always find me at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com. Also, I just ask, if you listen to this episode and you were inspired, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me a personal message, start that relationship well, because I'm paying attention.
And you've already warned us earlier, don't try to connect with her on MySpace or Facebook. She has migrated over into LinkedIn. So that's where you can find her.
And I have a new resource that I wanted to share for your audience. I'm super excited about it. I did a lot of thinking over the last few months, actually, not just frameworks or punchy copy anymore, or templates for founders and business owners who really want their sales page to do the heavy lifting for them of at least getting the messaging right. And so I've identified 12 strategic shifts that help you see where your sales page might not be doing its job, and will actually build trust with the right buyers, so they will reach out to you and start a conversation or set up that discovery call or buy the product or whatever it is. So it's called Sales Page Help Is Here, and it's a binge-worthy 12-part video series that walks you through each strategic shift step by step, so you can actually implement it on your sales page as you're watching each one.
Wow. Do they go directly to that link, or can they access that through your website?
They'd want to go directly to joyfulbusinessrevolution.com sales page help.
I know I'm going to download that. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. If we could leave on one particular note, what is one thing, just one thing in general, because there's a lot we could talk about. What's one thing that someone can get started today other than going to your website, downloading this 12 actions? Is there one thing that people should be aware of immediately in their messaging that they can take action on now?
I actually want to ground it back into building relationships. And the very best question you can ask every single person in your network starting today is, what is your goal in the next 3 months? And then you can either help them with it if it's within your expertise. You can connect them to the resources or the people in your community. But if you learn to be a giver and a helper to help people reach their goals, you will never, ever, ever be hungry for joy or money again.
Wow, so powerful. Thank you so much.
Shannon.
Thank you.
Again, for those listening in, today we had the amazing Shannon Hernandez at Joyful Business Revolution. It can be found at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com for some strategic tips. And thank you once again, Shannon. We're going to have you on later in the future. You definitely have brought a lot of value today, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to The Uncensored Entrepreneurs. If you're getting value from the show, take a minute to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you tune in. It helps more bold entrepreneurs find us. Until next time, keep showing up, uncensored and unapologetic. And we'll catch you on the next episode.